Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. If you're sitting there and you're listening and you're thinking, I'm burned out, or I don't know what I want to do, so I don't know where to start, or I've always wanted to do something, finish that sentence, then today is your day because Simone Little has a story to tell you from starting her own hair salon to where she is today as a fractional COO and a whole lot in between. And so she's done it. She's lived it, and she's here to tell her story and help you be able to create yours as well. So without further ado, my name is Charisse Walker, your host, and Simone Little, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Thank you so much, Charisse, for having me. I'm excited to be here and to speak and share my story. That was a wonderful introduction. So, as Charisse said, I'm a fractional COO, but I originally started my first business as a hairstylist and makeup artist. And after having two wonderful children, I couldn't do that anymore. And I became a virtual assistant. Wildly successful agency that I called the agency, but honestly, it was just me and and a bunch of unaligned contractors. So from there, I became a fractional COO and have been building the Chief Alignment Agency, which is a lot more aligned. Along the way, I've done a ton of productivity coaching and organizational change management to help companies and CEOs prevent burnout, to make more money, and to drive impact for their
Well, we didn't talk about was you're a paralegal at one point as well before you're like, you know what, I'm out. This isn't for me. But what I love, which you didn't talk about either, is that you had like a significant number of clients. I mean, 22 clients as a virtual assistant, that's a lot. And you're like, you know what, this isn't working. So you're all fired. I'm going to something that I do enjoy. And so what I love is that you are not afraid to pivot. And I think so many times we as mothers, because you're a mother of two as well, that we think, oh, we have to do this or we have to do that, or I have to go to work or I have to go to do this because I need the money. And what I love is that you actually are the epitome of my podcast that find your peace, your passion, your purpose. Figure out what you love and that brings you peace and that you're passionate about it, and then go do it because that's your purpose. And so as you're going and helping these companies, what are some things that these, like, first of all, what size does a company usually hire you as a fractional COO?
So typically they may or may not have actual employees yet, but they typically have anywhere between 3 to 5 people on their team, whether it be freelancers slash contractors or actual employees. And they bring me in, and the first thing that we kind of do is understand what their goals are. I mean, and I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of women can relate listening to this, is that there's so much noise right now on like social media and the news and everything that's going on. Sometimes it crowds out us identifying what our goals are. So even for those CEOs, really getting clear on what their goals are so we can actually create a roadmap and audit the things that are working and not working. Long with the answer to your question. But yeah, that's kind of part of the process.
That is not long-winded at all. People take the whole podcast to answer, so you're fine. But my question then that goes alongside of that is because you talk about being a productivity coach. Solopreneurs sometimes, and I'm experiencing this right now because if I showed you where I'm sitting, I'm in my house that I've been trying to flip since August, and it's driving me insane and it's chaos, right? But because I have this and I have this and I have this, it's hard to be able to get something moving the needle forward. And
Yeah.
so could you do you drop in and you're like, "Okay, let's figure this out and let me take it from here," or what?
So when it comes to the productivity part of what I do for CEOs, something I'm a really big fan of is energy management and actually managing your time according to your energy. And when I say energy, I don't mean like the woo woo energy that you kind of hear people speaking about. I mean, literally, are you tired or are you not tired? Is your brain mentally fried or is it not fried? Right. And really, because for each individual person, they have peaks throughout their day and they have valleys throughout their days, and even days of the week they have that. And so if we can map out, one, what your goals are, what is the pathway toward those goals, what the tasks are, and rank those tasks by things that you need more and less energy for, and put those inside of your day for when you have the actual energy for it, you'll speed through them really quickly and with a lot of accuracy. And the things that maybe you don't need a lot of energy for or that don't take a lot of workings inside of the brain to be able to accomplish, you can actually just spend time and sit and do those things without feeling the pressure or the stress because you need more in your tank to do that. And so that's the baseline for how I coach. I have something called a productivity power session, and I literally make schedules for CEOs so they can actually get the things done without burning out to the ground. We also talk about things like delegation and tech automations inside of that to help them quicken the pace. Even if they don't have have a lot of like free additional money, how can we free up some time on even things like housework, cooking, the things that you maybe don't love all the time? What are the reasons there for you?
I love that. And as a solopreneur, people have to be motivated. They have to be self-motivated to start a business and have it be successful. And so, you know, I have a master's degree. And so I can hear some people are like, "Well, I don't need that." But it's like, okay, well, how much have you gotten done in the last 6 months or the last year or the last 3 years? Like, where did you want to accomplish and where are you 3 years later? And if you're not where you want to be, then just because you are highly educated, highly, accomplished, you still might need somebody. And I think that that's the part that a lot of times people forget or they're afraid or they don't want to admit, I need help. Two minds are better than one. And that's the part that I love what you do because it really is so needed. Because especially ADD, because entrepreneurs, I think, have ADD and it's hard to focus. So I
Yeah.
love the schedule that you do.
Yeah, and ADD and ADHD as well. Like I've worked with quite a number of CEOs who, like you said, they have masters and doctorates and they're highly awarded and achieved. But there are a couple different things that people don't talk about within that is that as life goes on, you encounter different things and it actually can change the core of your makeup. And so you need to learn how to function differently. That doesn't have anything to do with your accomplishments. That's really just human nature and a little bit of life added in there with some flavor. And so it's really good to have someone who's like, all right, you look a little differently now. How you work is a little differently. What you need to execute, it looks a little differently than how I did 5, 10, 15 years ago. So how can we work within that for those with ADD and ADHD?
Mhm.
Each person with that functions a little bit differently. For some people, they need big time blocks to work on certain initiatives, or they need to jump around a lot in order to really get the most out of their day. But being affirmed within that is necessary, and then learning how to work with it is the other skill set on top of it.
So important. Oh my gosh. I love that you're talking about that because like yesterday, I'll just be honest. I didn't really get out of bed, but I worked all day long. And so my husband's like, "Okay, Sharice, what's on your docket?" Because there's always 20 things. Like I didn't even sleep last night because my mind was racing. I'm like, "Fine, I'll just get up and get it done." We had to go play all these appliances, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna go." No, I'm just gonna do it online. And then I thought, okay, well, no, I do need to make a call. It was a 2-hour phone call to get stinking
Uh-huh.
appliances ordered because I won't go there. But it really did. It took an hour and 45 minutes. And so it's like we are busy, but sometimes I love how you talk about the energy that there might be your up days or your down days. So
Yeah,
do you ever just
yeah.
stay in bed and work from your bed? Is it just
Yeah,
me?
yeah, no, it's not just you, it's not just you, and those are some of my favorite days. Typically for me personally, like, if I know I need to work in bed, I'm planning easy tasks because if I'm in bed, honestly, the TV's probably on, which means my concentration isn't the best, and if I have time to do a repetitive something repetitive, like if I'm looking at I'm hiring for a position and reading application, that's repetitive for me. If I'm trying to merge a project management tool, that's repetitive. So even if you wanna work in bed and get some stuff done, plan the stuff that's just lower energy. It's my word of advice.
Like a phone call that I thought would take like 10 minutes.
Exactly.
All right. So you've built your business now. And as you built these different businesses that you've done, what are some things that you've learned, like from somebody starting out? What do they need to know?
Hmm, that's a really good question. I want them to know that they should focus. And that sounds crazy, but they need to lock in and they need to focus. Meaning that you're going to have a lot of things that are vying for your attention as you try to build your business, as you try to find your footing and figuring out the things that work and don't work. But what's going to quickly throw you off track is looking at what everyone else is doing or looking at different tools to get it done without actually trying what you have already set out to do first. And so you need to test, Then you need to audit, and then you need to make changes. And within that test period, you need to focus so you can get the data back you need to be able to make good changes. But again, it's going to take focus in order to do that. I think what I find with those who are starting businesses, new ventures, new projects, etc., is that they won't give things enough time to actually work. They don't collect the data they need to figure out if it's not working, what to do next,
Mhm.
or what story this is telling them. They just quickly move on. And so that would be my word. And maybe that's my operations brain kicking in really heavy. I love data. I'm a data nerd, but you need to have data to make a good decision.
Yeah. No, that's true. Okay, and then we're like, we take your advice, our company's growing. Now it's an established company. They've hired 5 people. Now, what are the mistakes that you see that people should be aware of?
They don't manage those people that they have on their team well. That's a really big mistake that I keep seeing over and over again. They may or may not have processes. They should have processes and workflows and things like that in place. But even after having all that and having all the tools, they don't continue to develop the talent that's already on their team. And they want them to continue to rise on their own without any guidance and without providing that guidance. And so ensuring that you're spending time with your team, you're getting to know their strengths and their weaknesses, and that you have done the work as the CEO to understand how to coach them through the things that's going to make them better for your organization and investing that time into them instead of investing it into, let me get a new seven-step funnel to bring in new clients when your team isn't even optimized to be able to serve those clients well. So if you're at the stage, you're like, okay, I got a team, the engine is running. If you don't want the wheels to fall off, you really need to spend time with that team to continue to develop them.
Yeah. Amen to that. My daughter, we went to lunch on Saturday and she starts talking about her company and it's a mess. And so I'm like trying to give advice and doing these different things. And it's like there's so much potential. It's such a good company, but the wheels are falling off. The bus is
Yeah.
on there. All the people are on the bus, but the wheels are falling off. You know?
Yeah, and what I find when I talk to ones who are going through that situation is sometimes they haven't stepped back for a moment to kinda evaluate the things they need to do to get the trains back on the bus. What those initial steps are, that's gonna make the quickest fix, and then what those longer term things are, that's gonna make sure that it's fixed permanently, and the likelihood of it happening again doesn't. And that can be hard, like, when you're running a business, to step back and have that type of thoughtful process, that takes a lot of time, which you're like, "Well, I have to do this thing over here, and this is already a mess. I need to go in and fix it. We're spending too much money here. We're going to run out of capital." Like those are the things that typically attract a CEO's attention. And so to have that time to step back, it's like you have to be so intentional about taking it and then be ruthless about its execution from the plan that's created.
Yeah. No, I agree. So true. Well, let's switch gears for a minute because you are a mother of two and you've been married for 16 years. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
You're in my stage 3 of my book, that's the after the I do. So, as a mom and an entrepreneur, do you involve your children in what you do, or do they see it what like, mom's always staring at the computer? Like, what do you do to make sure that your children are not raising themselves?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, and something that I actively am aware of and working on, right? And so me and my husband have this conversation a lot about how we can involve the kids more in the business. And so like a month or so ago, I needed to do some marketing and I involved them in the videos. They've been wanting to do YouTube and TikTok. I'm not really comfortable with them having their own channels yet, but I was like, hey, let's record some videos for the business. And so they recorded videos for the business. It was fun. They had a great time. They're asking if the product that they talked about is selling or not. And so that's been pretty cool. I try to reserve my weekends for no work and just with my family and friends too. That's really important. So even during the week when they come home, my work isn't over. They get home too early for work to be over. But and in the evening, it's like by the time you cook dinner, you have bath time and you do all the things. And some nights we have worship. By the time you do all that during the week, the time is kind of gone. So the weekend is really for the kids. 97% of the time, I do not work on the weekends. I don't even open my laptop on the weekends. There are no notifications happening. And so that's time for them, time for me to spend time with them, raise them, give them direction, advice, study our Bibles together, whatever the case may be. It gives us that time on the weekends. And if school is out, I try to have some time reserved just for them. Or I ask my village, hey guys, the kids are out of school. Can someone take them to go play basketball, go swimming, to go do some type of activity? Because the good thing is that they have aunties and uncles, either by blood or by just being family friends, who also are part of them being raised to be good adults. And so I call those people in and they're like, yeah, sure, of course. And they look at them as their kids too. So that helps a lot as well.
I love that, and I love that religion is a part of your family too, because it's important. That's probably why you're still married. That's my opinion. What would you attribute your success in your marriage to?
To that, we are very religious people, and we believe that our threefold core, meaning me, my husband, and God, is really what makes it all work. Something that we live by is that, the person who guides my husband is my head. Like, I'm submissive to him in a respectful way, but he listens to me. I'm very ambitious. He lets me go after my goals. It's very reciprocal. But his head is perfect. And so when he turns to his head, being for us, Jesus, the head of the congregation, he has someone perfect to answer to. I have someone imperfect. But the fact that he is interested in doing the best he can, so he's representing his head the best, means that our marriage goes smoothly. Meaning that although I have someone who's not perfect, who's leading our family, he has the best intentions for us and he tries his very best. He makes mistakes. We all make mistakes, but he's always interested in correction or how can we work together to make the outcome better, trying to make decisions together better. He's always interested because I work so much. He always tries to make things easier for me. So, like, when he's home, he's cooking. Like, we split shift with the kids. Like, he takes them to the bus in the morning or gets them ready in the morning while I collect them in the evening. And so we really just work together to make sure that we're able to have some balance and nobody is burnt out, as well, which is really good. It's not just this is your responsibility. The only thing I don't touch around here is trash cans. I have a husband and a 13-year-old son. Someone else can touch the trash. But other than that,
Good for you.
yeah.
Hey, so I'm sure that there's some women that are listening. They're like, "Oh my gosh, she said that she's submissive to her husband. I'm not okay with that." And I mean, if you go back to Genesis, it talks about Eve submits to Adam. But how with those roles, I love it that you talk about my line is the trash cans. But how do you work together where in making decisions?
Yeah. So right now in our relationship is so natural. So I'm like trying to think about the process of us doing it where it's really one of us comes with a problem. A lot of times for me, because of the type of work I do, I don't just come with a problem. I'm trying to come with a solution. Hey, babe, this is the thing. What do you think about this? And either for him, it's either yes, no, give me a day. And, or, babe, I actually do not care. Whatever you wanna do, you let me know, and that happens a lot too, especially if we're planning, like, a trip or planning to make an investment or something like that, even an investment in the business. "Babe, I trust you." So, an example of that, and again, this comes with time. We've been together for 18 years, married for 16. The house that we live in now, we've been here for 4 years. I toured the house without him. I needed to be quick. I toured the house without him. I said, "Babe, I love it." He said, "Okay." We got the house. We did all the paperwork, got the house. He moved in, had never seen it before.
My gosh. Wow.
But eh,
Okay, women, see, she made a huge decision without her hubby.
but he was like, "I
Huge
trust
decision.
you. You know what we like. We've looked at houses together already. Like, we've toured things together before. So I know that we're aligned. I know that you're listening to what I need. We know what the family needs. I know what you need. So if you say that this is the move, he looked at the pictures online, but never stepped foot into it until the papers were signed and we were about to move in."
Wow. I love that because 'cause I'm a realtor. I totally know how that works. No, that is so cool. It's a rare thing for 2 people to try to work together. A lot of it is opposition or putting each other down to make themselves feel better. And so, the fact that you are completely aligned and, there's spats, I get it, because I'm not gonna believe that your marriage is perfect, so don't tell me
No
that
one's
it
is.
is.
No, no one's is. No one's is. Perfect doesn't exist.
Exactly, the iceberg, right? But I truly believe if 2 people are working together and they want it to work and you do involve God, like, that's a great step. Now, not all the time, but if you have 2 people that wanna make it work, then that's not the selfish individuals.
Yeah.
So, it can be successful, so kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alright, so if our listeners wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
So the easiest way is probably Instagram. My Instagram is at the Simone Little. Send me a DM. I'll send you back a voice message. I love like just like talking in my phone, talking to people. But if you want to check me out and kind of see like more about the business, chiefalignmentagency.com is my website. You can also find me on LinkedIn at the Simone Little. Usually at the Simone Little anywhere you can find me. So yeah.
And how long is it like, do you work with people? Is it an extensive period of time or is it a short-term time?
Yeah, so usually 6 months or less. I set them up for success. We do whatever the task is and we move on. My goal is to get you the outcome you need so your business can continue to function and flourish. If you need someone in a permanent role as a fractional COO, I will help you find that person. That is a service that I offer. I'll also help you rebuild the business first so you're on the right path so that person can come in and do their job well. So that's for most of my engagements. They're about 6 months in with different outcomes depending on what's needed for the company.
I love that you even know that, that you're like, "This is where I'm gonna stay in my lane." And
Yes.
so that's cool. That's really cool. And very last question, how do you get your clients?
A lot of them come through referrals and threads, which is a surprise. It's been a goal line for me. So referrals and threads.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me. This has been a pleasure. What an amazing conversation.
It was a lot of fun. All right, Unbreakable Moms. It really does come down to finding your lane and making sure that you know what you want to do and getting the help that you need. Because if you're like me, sometimes we get a little distracted, tired, burned out, or whatever it could be. And you might need somebody to say, okay, let's put you back on track and let's focus. And so reach out. She said this 6 months or less because her goal is to be results driven. So if you feel like you're lagging, then reach out to her and go out and make it a great day. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.